Alright guys, so I got good news today. Every single Avalonian weapon is now live on the Albion Online test server. If you don't know how to join the test server, I'm going to show you how right now. You just open up your client, and right here you see where you can select servers. Normally by default it'd be on Albion Live, but all you have to do is just click that and go to test server and you're ready to go. Now when you just do this, there's going to be a big patch, right? It's going to be the the Avalonian weapon patch. So you download that patch and you hit play and it'll be in the test server. And right now on the test server, every single Avalonian weapon is live, so you can get on and test these weapons out. Now, before I jump into these Avalonian skills, let me also show you how you can get these weapons. So at every major city, there's going to be like a entrance to your bank, right? So right next to that entrance, you'll find these two stone pillars, and right here where like all these people are piled up so you can see it, but right here there's a NPC that lets you, not that, but anyway, there's an NPC here that you can craft your weapons at, and any crafting here is free, so you can just click on the Avalonian weapon that you want to craft, select the tier, and just hit craft, and you get a free one in the bag. See, that's actually two right there. I'm gonna throw one away because I already have one. But anyway, that's how you do it. And these two stone pillars, if you click them, one of them gives you 1,000,000,000 silver, and the other one unlocks your destiny board. So it'll be 400 spec in everything once you click that. So that way you can just unlock everything and craft whatever you want and go test it out. All right. So we're gonna start talking about these Avalonian skills now. Okay, so I'm gonna start going through all the new weapon skills. Now keep in mind that the numbers that you see in here are all with flat 8 gear and 500 specs. And yes, I did say 500 specs because there's a new artifact tree, so there's new weapon bonus coming in. So like right now the total IP that you can get from maxing out everything is 320, not 300 anymore. And actually, if you look at the tree, your weapon tree, so you'll see the breakdown in here. So the artifact pieces, there's 4 of them now, and each of them gives you 0.99 bonus to item power for all weapons of that tree. And the regular weapons are still giving you 20, right? So yeah, like the total numbers that you're seeing is with 500 specs and flat 8 gear. So we're gonna start off with the spear. The spear is called Daybreaker, and the new skill on it is a 20-meter charge. It does a lot of damage. I made a regular one-hand spear here to compare the damage with, and you see with 3 charges, the base damage on that E is 931, and on the Daybreaker, the base damage is 1027, so it's more damage than the regular spear, and it doesn't rely on stacks, right? So hitting people with 0 stacks is the same as hitting them with full stacks. And when you hit them, you also purge all buffs from them. And this is what the skill looks like. While you're charging, you are also immune to any crowd control effects, so that means you can charge through wind walls. And it also means there won't be any of those like rubber banded looking bounce backs as you will have with a regular spear or any other kind of dash that's not like immune to CC. And the new spear is a one-hand weapon, so you can use it with a offhand. And there are 3 different new offhands. You see it's these 2 and the shield, and I'll go through those in a bit. Okay, the new axe is called the Realm Breaker, and it's got one of the more interesting looking skills that I've seen yet. And what it does is it is a 10-meter long leap followed by a AoE CC and damage, and it does quite a bit of damage, But the most interesting thing is when it hits you, it knocks you up and it halves your current and max mana. So think about it as a incubus mace, but it doesn't affect your HP bar, it affects your mana bar. And I tried this earlier with a royal armor, and basically when you hit someone with it and you turn on the royal armor, you start draining their mana really fast, and if they use any skills at all during that duration that they're affected by this debuff, they pretty much just run out of mana instantly, and this debuff lasts on them for the whole 8 seconds, right? So for that whole 8 seconds, if they use any skills on them during that time at all, they pretty much just like run themselves out of mana instantly. Alright, the next one we're going to look at is the new dagger. The new dagger looks kind of like claws. It looks like some kind of fist weapon, and the new skill on it is really interesting. It slashes enemies in the cone in front of you while jumping 8 meters backwards. Enemies hit receives physical damage. The damage The damage height depends on the number of thunder armor or assassin spirit charges, right? So it's your typical 3 charge and use kind of skill. But the interesting thing about it is the leap back. So I'm gonna show you what that looks like. 4 seconds. Yeah, so the targeting system is like this. It's kind of like the Forest of Spears, or the cone shape AoE, and that's what the skill looks like. So you swipe people in front of you, and then you leap backwards. Okay, so the hammer is a CC weapon. The damage on it doesn't look too good, but what it does is you charge toward a target location, hitting enemies in a 3.5 meter radius along the way. While spinning, you continuously pull enemy towards you, stunning them for 1.93 seconds. That number, by the way, scales with your IP. So I have 1584 IP with this hammer, so it's stunning for 1.9 seconds with that much. I think if you were lower spec, it would probably stun for like less than a second, like 0.9 second or something like that. At the target destination, you slam the hammer on the ground, hitting all enemies in a 5 meter radius, dealing 540 physical damage and knocking them up into the air for half a second. Alright, again, we will show you how that looks like with combing. Alright, don't move so I don't miss. Alright, so it's a ground target like that, and it's fairly short range. And basically you just start spinning, and then boom, knock up. Stand still, and let me see if it does more damage if you hit from up close. Because you're continuously hitting people along the way of the charge, right? So if you hit someone from melee range, and you bring them all the way out to max range, I think that'll do more damage. Let's test that theory. Okay, brought you down to 2,000, so that did like 800 something, almost 900 damage. Heal up, and let's try again in 20 seconds. Okay, my cooldown is up, and now I'm gonna hit you at max range, don't move. That did... it did less than 700 damage. So the theory was correct. If you hit them from closer, like if you are standing right next to them and you bring them with you all the way to the outer edge, you hit them more times, so do a little bit more damage. But the thing is, like
battle axe,
like great axe, I don't know. But like the thing is, like the base damage on it is kind of low, so you won't do that much more damage with it. But it is a nice little extra. Oh, he's killing me. The new mace is called Oathkeepers, and what this one does is really interesting. It creates a line in front of you that shields any ally that passes through that line for a massive amount. Like with this kind of IP, with 1584 IP, 4,382 health. And besides the shield, it also increases your movement speed for 50 seconds, for 50% for 5 seconds. That's for like all allies that passes through that line. Additionally, your mace will be blessed for 5 seconds. While blessed, your normal attacks will heal up to 5 allies in a 6 meter radius around you for 93. Alright, so let's take a look at what that looks like. Go ahead and get me low. Alright, that's good enough. So, the first part of skill, you drop a line right there, you pass through it and get a huge shield, right? And now every time you auto attack, you start healing. And the heal applies to both yourself and everybody around you. Now, if you really want to take advantage of that healing, like, you can run this with Hunter Jacket and you'll heal for like actually quite a bit. And of course you can run like, if you're gonna run Hunter Jacket, you might as well run a stunning passive, right? So you can like get a lot of stuns out of it as well. So pretty interesting looking skills, like really tanky and supportive. And it's like the only weapon that I can think of that's not technically a healing weapon, but it heals your allies. Alright, so the next weapon we're going to look at is a Quarterstaff, and just looking at it on paper, it looks super OP. What it does, it slams the staff on the ground and hits enemy in a line in front of you. Enemies hit receive 636 physical damage, and the line leaves an area on the ground which lasts for 4 seconds. And enemies who touch it stay rooted until the area vanishes. For the next 3 seconds, you can immediately use this ability one more time. However, if you use it twice in a row, its cooldown will be 40 seconds as opposed to 20 seconds. It'll be like doubled. Alright, so that's a insane CC weapon, and we're just gonna show you how big this stun is with cooming.
It's not a stand though.
It's a root, but they last forever. Like, imagine using this in Helgis instead of the regular Quarterstaff. Like, they'll never be able to move.
Yeah, like, how I understand it, like, you won't be able to purge it unless you...
Oh shit, I missed.
Walk
Touch
out
it!
of it. If I use some...
Well, anyway. Okay, cooldowns. Alright, stun.
Yeah,
Oh
like
yeah, you can just roll out of it.
Yeah, like it only roots you if you stand in it, but
interesting.
It goes through CC resistance. So you need some kind of leap or dash.
Yeah, so CC resistance is not effective because it lasts as long as that AoE lingers, but you can dash out of it. Okay, that's not as OP as I thought then. But what if you... Let's see, if I stun you, right, and then I do this, and you leap out of it, I can just... Oh, wait. I can just do it again. But...
You did do it again.
Yeah, but it's 3 seconds, right? And now my cooldown is double. Okay, maybe it's not as OP as I thought, but on paper it just looked like it would be such a long stun. Anyway, okay, let's move on to the next weapon. Alright, so next we're gonna look at the sword. The sword is called the Kingmaker, and this one, they kind of already showcased it in the dev talk, but we'll just read through it again. So you swing the blade around you and knock enemies into in a 6-meter radius around you into the air for 0.85 seconds. While the enemies are in the air, you follow up with a vertical smash, dealing massive physical damage in the line in front and behind you. The damage scales with their heroic charge and consumes them. By the way, this weapon does hit harder than Gallatin pairs when I compared them, and it's got a 5-second shorter cooldown, and it's got a CC on it. OP. I'll probably replace Gallatin pairs in ZVZs for clapping people. I'm going to show you what the skill looks like with Kumi.
I don't think so. It's only vertical slash.
But it's so big damage.
I guess.
And it's not a small AoE either. I'll show you.
I mean, I'm not saying it's small, but it doesn't go in all directions. You know?
It doesn't need to. When you Camelin someone, like, they're gonna be all stacked up anyway, right? There you go. So in front and behind. In this instance, it's behind. Now I'm gonna wait for my cooldown to come back, and I'll show you, like, if you aim this weapon a little bad, it's not gonna hit everybody around you, like Kumi was saying. But I think if you just play well, you know, if you just aim it right, you should be able to do a lot. So, like, if you aim it sideways, right, you hit the knockup, but the damage is gonna miss because you're only hitting people like along this line.
Can you turn? Can you turn when you use it? Like,
no, you're animation locked. No, you'd be animation locked. We can try, but I'll show you. Okay, so what Kumi is saying, like, can you turn while you're using the animation? But if you can, I'm gonna aim it sideways first and then walk this way. So it should turn around, right? But I think it'll be animation lock. Let me show you. Yeah, so like your animation lock, you can actually move. All right. All right, next up, we're gonna take a look at the new bow. The new bow is called the Mist Piercer. And this one, I think it has some potential in it. It's probably going to be pretty good in ZVZ. I think it's got some solo potential as well, because the E is essentially just 4 different magic arrow shots. And okay, so what it does is you activate it and you get these charges on you that you can just fire off. You can kind of think of it as a Jin ult if you ever play League of Legends, right? So you saw when I pressed it, you got those 4 little thorn things on you. Those are your charges, and you can fire it off 4 times. And each one of them does 772 damage. So all 4 shots, if they all land, will be over 2,000 damage. And I'm pretty sure it's a piercing AoE. Yes, it's a piercing AoE, so kind of like your Q, right? So I'm gonna show you the damage with Kuming. So I'm thinking like you could probably use this in ZVZs instead of wailing bows, and it'll proc your explosive arrow really well. And even in soloing, I think if you run this with Frost Eye, you can probably kite with it pretty well too. But let's see. So activate and then shoot and shoot and shoot and shoot, and you can see it did quite a big chunk of damage. Now, all right. So next weapon, we did the bow, we did all that, we did the sword, crossbow. The crossbow is also one of the weapons that they already showed off in the dev talk, but we're just gonna quickly go over it right here. It's basically a channeled laser beam that does a crap ton of damage. You can see the numbers here. It's 386 damage per 0.3 seconds, right? So in 1 second, that's going to trigger 3 times. That's like nearly 1,200 damage per second, and it channels for 4 seconds. All right, let's show this damage on Kuming. Alright, so the way the skill works, there's a little bit of a ramp up, and then once it starts, it just keeps going, and it destroys people. So I think this will be a really good ZVZ weapon, but you probably need to run like a cleric robe to go with it, so you can like pre-proc your cleric robe and then start shooting. Otherwise, you probably just kill yourself on demon armor, because it does not say that it doesn't get reflected. Yeah, so it will get reflected and you will die from reflex. Another thing about this is the beam does follow your cursor like they showed you in the dev talk. So when it comes back, I'll show you how that works. Alright, so you start shooting and then you just move your cursor and it follows you. And it's got a little bit of a slow turning time, but the radius on the how do I put it? The cone on it, I would say it's like a bit smaller, maybe about the same as like a siege bow cone. Okay, next we're looking at the Arcane staff, and the new Arcane mimic skill is also live on the test server, by the way. If you want to try it, it's available. I don't think it'll be a very good skill, but you know, you can play around with it and see what's good with it. See what you could do with it. Alright, so we're gonna look at Dark Sphere. Summon a Dark Sphere that hits 0.6 seconds after the cast ends, dealing 482 magic damage and applying a Dark Aura to 5 enemies in a 5-meter ground impact radius. The Dark Aura lasts for 7 seconds. Any enemy inside the radius is slowed by 20%. Their healing received is reduced by 15%, and their damage is reduced by 15% for players, 8% for mobs. If multiple auras overlap, the effect can stack up to 5 times. That's the OP part about this. If you're in a ZVZ and you like drop this on a group, on a clump, that effect can stack up to 5 times. So that 20% slow is gonna become a 100% slow, and it lasts for 7 seconds. So yeah. All right, so the new Quarterstaff now. The new Quarterstaff is they call it the Elder Shadow Caller, and it's kind of like a summoning staff, if you will. But that's really what it does. Can be cast on any player, including yourself, and summon their inner shadow to attack enemies in a 5-meter radius. The attack speed, the attack depends on the armor the player wears. Alright, so if they're wearing cloth armor, the summon thing does 278 magic damage against players, 135 against creatures, up to 9 times. Leather armor deals 101 magic damage, slightly less magic damage, for up to 5 times, and the inflicted damage is stolen to heal you. Plate armor slows the enemy by 40%, and after 1.5 seconds, the shadow lands a finishing blow, which deals 600 physical damage and reduces their resistance by 97 for 5 seconds. And I'll show you what the skill looks like. First on myself, who is wearing cloth armor. Wait a minute, I just went to Kuming. Alright, Kuming is wearing leather armor, and that's what that looks like. Actually, let's go into a duel and show this.
I feel like people are gonna use mercenary jacket with that staff and just solo.
Yeah. Alright, so Kuming's suggestion was if you use this staff with a mercenary jacket, you'll get a lot of healing from it. He's probably right. Kuming, do some damage to me.
You asked for it.
You cancelled it.
Yeah, I just wanted to get the cape.
Oh, the auto attack. Alright, so he's wearing leather armor, right? So I'm gonna hit him with it, and alright, so it doesn't heal for that much really, but it does hit for 5 times, and it's AoE. So if there's mercenary jacket at the same time, it'll proc every time, right? And then you'll be proccing mercenary with your Q as well. So it could be interesting. And then we're gonna wait a few seconds and check out the cloth armor version. The plate armor, it doesn't do much damage. It's mostly just magic shred, or it's just resistance shred. All right, don't move, please. All right. So here's the magic damage version, or the cloth armor version. It does quite a bit more damage. Okay, we're gonna swap back to the Quarterstaff, and we're just gonna show you what the plate armor version of the skill looks like. Alright, so Kuming's wearing plate armor now, and let the duel commence. Okay, there it is. So first it's slowed, and then he just gets hit. It doesn't do a lot of damage, but it's a pretty big armor shred. Alright, so the next weapon we're looking at is the fire staff. It is called the Dong Song, and what it does, it does a interesting skill shot that does a lot of damage, and this skill shot is a new targeting system. If you ever played League of Legends, Victor's death rate is how this works. So basically, when you first press it, it's gonna make you pick a location, and then it's gonna make you pick a direction, right? So when you click it again, it fires off the skill shot. And the skill shot looks really cool. It's a big phoenix that breathes fire on the ground, and it does a lot of damage. It does 1,850 damage on impact, like when the phoenix breathes on you, and for 6 seconds afterwards, the ground will be burning, and people that are in that area, in that burning area, takes 53 magic damage every half second, and will have their healing reduced by 40%. So I think this will be another like really strong ZVZ weapon. Yeah, it'll probably be really strong in 2v2 Helgis too if you play like Quarterstaff Blazing and you just replace the Blazing with the Dongsong. Okay, so next we're gonna look at the new Frost. Now the new Frost is called the Chill Hao. It's a one-handed weapon, and you can use the offhand with it. So right now I have this Avalonian shield on, but you should probably run a Tomb of Spells for the casting time and the mana if you were to actually play this weapon. But the new E, what it does is it's a spell that can target an ally, an enemy, or yourself. Okay, and if you target a ally, the ally becomes frozen and immune to any kind of spells. So basically, you can save an ally with it if it's getting targeted, getting focused. You can hit them with this frozen crystal, and they'll be invulnerable to damage for a little bit. And when you target someone with it, you'll see there's a area around that target, right? So enemies that are inside that area, if they stay in that area for a second or longer, they'll be frozen. And then after a 2-second delay, the freezing will end. And when the CC ends, they will take 796 damage. Kind of like how the permafrost crystal works, right? You CC them first, and then when the CC ends, they take damage. But the nice thing about this weapon is you can target an ally and save your ally with it. And it's got a shorter cooldown than the permafrost. It's a 25-second cooldown. Okay, next we're gonna go over the new nature staff. This one looks super cool as well. So what this E does is it links 2 targets together. You can target 2 allies, 2 enemies, or an enemy and an ally. Right, and it's gonna have different effects depending on which combo you went with. So if you link 2 allies together, the damage taken is shared evenly between the 2 targets. And if one target gets healed, the other target also gets healed for the same amount. Okay, we're gonna come back to this point in a second. If you target an ally and an enemy, 30% of the enemy's healing received is transferred to the ally, and 10% of the ally's damage received is transferred to the enemy. If you link 2 enemies, if an enemy takes damage, the linked enemy also receives 50% of that damage. Okay, so the strongest combination, in my opinion, is the 2 ally one, and let me show you what you could do with that. Alright, starting. Alright, so if I link Kuming to me, any heal that I put on him is going to be shared between us, and any heal that I put on myself is also going to go to him. So you have 3 stacks on him and 3 stacks on myself. We're both getting healed for 6 stacks. Okay, and also any healing that you get from your armor, like Cultist Robe and Guardian Helmet, is going to be shared as well. Now, Guardian Helmet is an AoE heal, right? So stand still for a second. The Guardian Helmet is gonna heal me and him when I use it initially. But if we're linked, that's gonna bounce around. It's gonna heal both of us twice, right? So if I link him to me and I do Guardian Helmet, you can see that it actually healed us for over 1,000 damage. Alright, the next one, and I think this is the last weapon, the last main hand weapon, is the Holy Staff. It's called the Hallowfall. And what this E does is you jump to a target location on the 5-meter radius impact area. You'll heal up to 10 allies for 350 and knock enemies up in the air for 0.8 seconds. Each ally healed increases your resistance by 58 for 7 seconds, stacking up to 3 times. This is what the skill looks like. Wada! And I know the base number here only said like 350, but it actually healed for like 600 something because of the cloth armor buff and because of this offhand. So I think now we're gonna go through all the offhands. There's 3 offhands and they don't give you new skills, it's just give you stats, so it's gonna be pretty quick to go through them. The Celestial Cleanser, this is a healing offhand. It makes you take more damage, but it gives you a lot more healing. I think this is gonna be good for like a PvE healing, or maybe for like ZVZ healing, where the healer just like hides in the back and don't take any damage at all. Because this will really increase your healing output by a lot. Alright, next up we have the shield, which makes you take a lot less damage. It gives you a huge damage reduction, like 17%, but it also increases your mana cost. I know here it says like ability cost reduction, but it's negative 21%, right? So it actually makes you use more mana, right? So that's the cost for taking so much less damage. And next we have this one right here. This is basically the torch tree, and it gives you a lot of CC resistance, nothing else, just CC resistance. And I think this CC resistance is actually like a really big deal, because like 346, let's put that into perspective, is if you use the Knight Helmet active, where's my Knight Helmet? Yeah, if you use a Knight Helmet active, it gives you 78 resistance, right? So it's a really big amount of CC resistance from this offhand. It's like really good for CVC. Like even if you're just soloing, you can't get CC chain anymore with this weapon. All right, so
you can't get stunned or rooted or slowed or whatever.
Yeah, so again, to put this thing into perspective, Kumi had a good point. So you look at the actual CC resistance stat in your tree, and it tells you how much crowd control affects you. It says here, crowd control spells cast on you are only 16% effective. And this is with the cloth armor, so you probably get more out of it if you run like all plate armor with the CC resistance trait. Alright, so a couple more things. Besides the weapons, the new weapons, the new corrupted dungeons, and the road to Avalon are also live right now on the test server. So if you want to go test those out, they're available right now. And it is confirmed that with this coming patch, gear swapping in Hellgates will no longer be a thing. So once you enter the Hellgate, you will not be able to change your armor and your weapon anymore. You will still be able to change the skills on your equipment, but you'll not be able to change the actual equipment. This applies to both Hellgates and corrupted dungeons. So I played a little bit on the test server today off stream, and I tried out the corrupted dungeons and the Road to Avalon, and they look really, really cool. But I didn't really encounter a whole lot of other players due to the fact that it's test server and there's just not a whole lot of player playing on it. So hopefully with this video out, more of you guys will want to come to the test server and just try out the new features, and maybe we'll run into each other and have some action. Alright, so this video is long enough. I'm gonna cut it off right here. Remember to like and sub, and I'll be streaming some test server content, some corrupted dungeons and Road of Avalon exploration tonight, and probably tomorrow as well on the test server. I'll put my Twitch link in the video description below. Hope to see you guys there.